So now that you understand how the dashboard works, it's time to start creating some content for our WordPress website. I wanted to begin by talking about the difference between posts and pages. Most websites are built with a combination of posts and pages. You'll use posts, generally speaking, if you're building a news or online magazine or a blog website. These sorts of sites will mainly be driven by posts. Posts are always listed in reverse chronological order. They can be time sensitive. They can be sorted by categories, tags, dates, or authors. They can be accessed from multiple places within your website. They can be found in RSS feeds. And it is important to note that a blog post cannot be used as a home page. Pages, on the other hand, are used for building websites for companies, restaurants, something that specializes in offering services, businesses that are along these lines. If you have something like this, it will mainly be driven by pages. Pages are static and timeless, and they are not sorted in chronological order. They're organized by a hierarchy system. They're only visible and accessible if you manually link to them. They don't appear in an RSS feed, and pages can be used as a home page. So now that you know the difference between posts and pages, let's take a look at how we can create this sort of content within WordPress. We're going to start off by talking about posts. From the dashboard, I can use the menu on the left to get to the Posts section, and you can see that the flyout menu gives me the option to see all existing posts, add new, go to categories or tags. I'm going to go to all posts. Now I haven't actually made any posts, but I do have some that are listed here. The Hello World is the default post that WordPress publishes when you install WordPress. If I go to the front end of my website, this is what Hello World looks like, and it's just a placeholder post so that you have something in your content. You can also see that I have the idea for new post, draft. This is the one that I had showed you from the dashboard when I used the quick draft feature. So it had created a post for me and stored it as a draft, and you can see that it's clearly identified as a draft. Neither one of these existing posts is sorted into any sort of category or has any sort of tags associated with it. You can see that there is a one comment on the Hello World post, and that's because when I installed WordPress, it automatically came with a comment. So if I go back to the front end, you can see that there is one comment located here, and if I click on it, we can read what the comment is. Again, this is just a placeholder comment that WordPress installs for you. You're going to more than likely want to delete both the Hello World post and the Hello World comment. We'll do that in a little while. But for now, let's go ahead and create a new post. From the post landing page, I'm going to click Add New. I can also add a new post by going right to the Add New sub-menu. When I click Add New, I'm going to be on the post landing page. Now it is worth mentioning that on the post landing page, just like on the dashboard homepage, we do have the option for screen options and help. Both of these areas are going to be specific for this portion of WordPress. So I have different boxes that I can turn on and off, and I can augment my layout from 1 to 2 column. I can also enable full height editor and distraction-free functionality, which is checked by default. I'm going to leave these settings as are. The help menu is going to give you help that is specific to creating posts. The first thing that we have is the post title. The post title is a very important area because it is going to dictate not only the title of the post but also the name of the post. So I'm just going to make a post that says, "This is my first post." Once I do that, WordPress is automatically going to create a permalink for this particular page. This is actually the URL or the location of where this page is going to be found on the web. By default, WordPress displays permalinks in a very poor format. So we're going to want to change this to a more readable format. That will allow these to be better for search engines and to be more readable. Let's go ahead and do that before we continue with the post. Before I leave this page, I'm going to save this as a draft so it doesn't get deleted. You can see that as soon as I clicked Save Draft, the status has been changed to a draft status. If I go back to my All Posts area, This is my first post is also located here, and you can see that it is a draft. We'll continue on working on this in a moment, but let's go ahead and fix the permalink issue. The permalink issue is located under the settings area, and if I go to permalinks, this is going to take me to the permalink area. As I mentioned, by default, WordPress is going to display URLs in a very non-friendly format. Day and name are how it will reference the pages. I would recommend that you change the URL to display as a post name. This is going to take the name of the page or post from the title of that page or post. It's going to be much better for search engines and to just in general to make the URL more readable so that you could actually give this to someone else and not have it be some convoluted mix of characters and numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and save my changes. I'm going to go back to my post section and we'll go back to all posts. I'm going to click on my This is my first post draft, which is going to take me in here, and you can see that my URL has now updated to a much more user-friendly format. This is going to be true for any additional content types that I create within WordPress. It is important to do this prior to making a lot of links in WordPress. You'll want to go ahead and set the permalink settings before you do any other work, so make sure you do that first. Now let's go ahead and create some content on our page. Now I've just gone ahead and placed some lorem ipsum text into my file. This is actually cupcake ipsum, so it has to do with cupcakes. And I'm going to use this to format the text that is on my screen. The first thing I recommend doing is I recommend that you expand the toolbar that is associated with the content that you're creating. If you click the toolbar toggle, it's going to give you an additional row of formatting options, which I find to be helpful. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to change this bit of text into a heading, and you can see that I have headings of size 1 down to 6, and I also have pre-formatted text. I'm going to make this a heading of size 1. This will remain a paragraph, but this text right here I want to make bulleted points. So I'm going to put my mouse in front of this text and I'm going to go ahead and specify that I want this to be bulleted points. Now I need to come in and click the rest of these options, so I'm just hitting delete and then return so that these also will be part of my bulleted list. And let's go ahead and just create another heading here. This text is going to be an H2. I'm going to highlight some text in here and I'm going to apply some inline styles, like making this text bold, and perhaps this text is going to be italicized. If you hover over any of these names, you can see that it's going to go ahead and specify what this particular setting is going to do to your page. If you want to create a link, you simply highlight the text and you'll go ahead and click this button, Insert or Edit Link. When you go ahead and do that, it's going to allow you to paste a URL or type a URL. So I could go ahead and specify my URL. You're going to want to start the URL with http:// and then put the address that you want to link to. Once you've done that, you're going to click the little blue arrow that's going to apply that to the text, and now you can see that I've created a link. If at some point you want to edit the link, you would simply highlight the text and you would click the little pencil icon, which will allow you to edit the link. If you open up the link option gear to the right, it's going to give you a more extensive menu, which is going to allow you to make other choices about your text. For instance, if I wanted this link to open in a new tab, I could check it here. I could also link it to some sort of existing content, or if I wanted to create a link to an existing page within my website, I could do that here as well. I'm going to go ahead and click Update to update that my link is going to open in a new tab. If you're curious about any of the other formatting options, just hover over and then you'll get options to see what you can do with those particular formatting choices. The next area that I want to share with you is this little button right here. This allows you to move into distraction-free writing mode. When I click this, you can see that the other areas from WordPress disappear, and I have a more plain editor in which to create content. A lot of people find that the other areas of WordPress to be very distracting, so you may want to go into the distraction-free writing mode. If you are done in this mode, you can simply click it again to toggle and get back out of that mode. The other area that I want to share with you within the visual editor are these two buttons. They are important parts of WordPress and you'll want to become familiar with them. I'm going to open up a web page and copy some text. This text is going to already have some formatting applied to it. You can see that the formatting consists of bold text and then there's also some links. I'm going to copy this text and I'm going to go back into my WordPress post and I'm going to go ahead and paste this text. I'll put this underneath my list. When I paste in the text, you can see that it comes into WordPress, but it does go ahead and keep the formatting from the page that I copied from. Many times you're not going to want to keep existing formatting, and this is true not just only for other web pages, but if you are copying content from a Word document or any other sort of application that has rich text formatting, when you paste the text into WordPress, it's going to come in with that formatting. If that's not something that you want, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use the paste as text. When I use paste as text and then paste my text, you can see that now the text comes in, but the formatting has been completely stripped off. The text is no longer bold and the links are no longer active. I'm going to turn off the paste as text button so that when I paste the text again, it contains the formatting. If you've already pasted the text and it does have formatting and you wish to remove it, you can highlight the text and use clear formatting. Clear formatting will remove any sort of formatting that came in. It is worth noting, however, that clear formatting will not remove links. If you wanted to get rid of any of these links, you would need to highlight the text and then you could click the remove button to remove the links. Conversely, you could also highlight the links and then use the remove link button up here in the toolbar. There are two tabs here, the visual editor and the text editor. If you click the text editor, it's going to take you into an area which is going to show you much of the HTML content that is used to make this particular page. The toolbar is going to change to give you options to create HTML-based content. You could, of course, simply click within this area, and if you know HTML, you can go ahead and create new content as you see fit. If I want to return to the visual editor, I simply click the tab here. You can see that the paragraph that I created in the text editor is now going to show up. As you can see, there's a multitude of ways to incorporate content into your WordPress post. When you are done making edits to your page, you're going to want to go ahead and save as a draft or possibly publish. Saving as a draft, of course, is just going to save this post and keep it in the all post area. It will not be live and it won't be part of your website. The only way that you can make it part of your website is to publish it. If you want to check what your page looks like, I recommend saving it as a draft and then previewing the page. Previewing the page is going to open a separate tab and show you what this particular post will look like inside of your WordPress front end. I'm going to close this tab and I'm going to go ahead and publish my post. When I click publish the post, I've gone ahead and I've pushed this out to the front end of my WordPress website. If I was to visit the front end of my website, and here I am on the home page of my website, you can see that this is my first post. This is a link which will actually take me to a separate page that is going to contain this post, but you can see that my entire post actually exists on my home page as well. And this is the default feature of this particular theme that we're using inside of WordPress. We can augment these things, but we'll learn how to do that a little bit later on. If I click the link, it takes me to the This is my first post page, which is going to look very similar. The only real difference is that it's only going to contain the information in this post. It's not going to contain any additional post listings. We do have the option to leave a comment, and for someone that is able to, they could go ahead and comment on this post. When they post the comment, it will go ahead and publish the comment if you are a person that is logged in. If you're not logged into WordPress, and remember I know I'm logged in because I have the menu bar showing up at the top, the comment will be sent, and by default WordPress sets it up so that a mediator within WordPress is going to have to approve or disapprove comments. We'll talk about how to do that a little bit later on. Going back to the back end of WordPress, I did want to mention a couple of other areas that are included on the post section. They are the formatting panel. Formatting panel allows you to format this particular post as a specific type of content. Depending on the theme that you have, when you choose these various contents, it may change the way that your post looks. So if I change this to a quote and I click update, notice the publish button has now changed to an update button. And we go to the front end part of our website and refresh, some of the formatting now looks a little bit different. You can see that this is my first post area has gotten smaller. Nothing else has really changed, but it did change that option. If I go back to the home page of my WordPress website, again, this is my first post is not treated quite as predominantly. I'm going to set this back to the standard mode type. The other things that you have the ability to do here are to assign categories and to add tags. We're going to talk about categories and tags in another movie, so we'll come back and talk about those later on. I'm going to update my post, and I'm going to go back to the All Posts section of WordPress. You can see that this is my first post is no longer identified as a draft. You can see who the author is, and you can see that it doesn't have any categories except for uncategorized assigned to it. There also is one comment on this post, and that's the one that we made. You do have the option in this post area to edit, which would take me to the exact same page as if I clicked on the name of the post. The quick edit button will allow you to make some quick changes to the post. So if you wanted to add additional categories or tags, you could do that. You could also password protect this page or make it private. You could change the date. You could change the slug. The slug has to do with the URL that is going to be associated with this particular post. You can see that the slug gets its name exactly from the title. If for some reason you wanted that to be different, you could change it here. And you can see that my status is published. If I wanted to put it back to draft, I could, or if I wanted to set it to pending review, I could do that as well. I'm going to leave it at published, and I'm going to close the quick edit button by clicking cancel. So that's a quick overview on how posts work and the various things that you can do when you create a post in WordPress.